What's up, everybody? We are back with another review. Today we are talking about the brand new game Cairn. If you're not familiar with Cairn, it is a new indie survival mountain climbing game, and it ends up being more complicated than that sounds. But essentially, you're a world-class mountain climber named Ava, who is trying to become the first known person to ever summit the mountain called Kami, which is, at least seems like in this game, is the highest point in the world. Now, obviously, that's kind of a parallel to Everest, but people have climbed Everest. But essentially, you're climbing up a mountain that nobody's ever summited before, and many who've tried have died or given up. I guess everyone has either died or given up if no one's done it. But that's essentially the game. You're a stubborn, somewhat of a loner hiker who is going up this very dangerous mountain, which is supposedly the highest point in the world. And you have your supplies that you have to manage, and you have your climb bot who helps you retrieve your pitons. And that's about it. You have to manage hunger, thirst, cold, and then obviously navigate this treacherous mountain. So that's kind of the whole basis of it. It doesn't sound like much, but this game, we'll give our final thoughts and score at the end. But this game was, I'll just spoiler it, this game was incredible, amazing, and if you go look at the reviews, you'll see that that's the case. But we're going to do our usual pros, so-sos, and cons, and the lists aren't long because this is kind of a simple game at the end of the day. But that's what we're going to do, as usual. Before we get into that, my Twitch is linked down below if you want to come hang out live while I play new games, or when there's not new games to play, it's Apex or Warzone or whatever the newest game that has me hooked for a little while is. Currently, right now, that's actually High Guard. But Twitch is linked down below, as well as Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, the single-player YouTube channel. Oh, and the playthrough of the whole game, if you want to watch the playthrough, is linked down below as well. And then if you're interested in cars, I have a car YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok all linked down below. But let's go ahead and run through these pros, so-sos, and cons. We always start with the cons and work towards more positive. The only con I have is the character art style, and honestly, this was kind of in the so-sos, but I wanted to have something in the cons, otherwise I had no cons. But the character art style, if you've played the Telltale games, it's very close to that art style. It's not my favorite. It's not offensive. It's just not my favorite. That's why I would put in so-sos, but I wanted a con. But that's the only con I have. The so-sos are the physics in the game. Now, this game is not meant to be hyper-realistic, obviously. But part of the physics is sometimes your leg just moves in ways that aren't possible, or you clip through the rock faces. And, sometimes you're just doing things that are literally not possible. And for a game that's, semi-realistic, it doesn't make sense for those physics to not be there. But sometimes those physics are what keeps the game actually playable, because sometimes it would just be too hard to really maneuver since you can't be too precise. And speaking of precision, the next I have the so-so is the limb selection. So there's two ways that you get which limb to control. One is you can manually select each limb. And depending on the section you're in, you have time for that. But if you get caught in a section where your arms and legs are starting to shake and you don't want to fall off the mountain, or at least fall down and hang from your most recent baton that you put in the side of the wall, then it will auto-select limbs for you as you plant each limb. But sometimes you don't get the limb that you want, so you have to keep replanting limbs until it gives you the one you want. And when you're panicking and you maybe not going to think clearly enough to pick which limb you need quickly, then all of a sudden you're falling off the mountain. And I wish the automatic limb selection was a little bit smarter, that if I just put down a limb and it's on a stable foothold or handhold, I don't really want to pick it back up. Or if I am trying to move this way along the wall, I don't want to keep getting the limbs that are on this side. I want to start moving the limbs that are on this side over to this side, right? So that's not great. And then another so-so I have is the difficulty. I actually am fine with this game being very difficult, and I played on the medium difficulty, and I thought this game was very difficult. So I can't imagine what the hardest difficulty is like. And the easy difficulty, I don't know. I haven't played on the easy difficulty. I might go play on the easy difficulty because there's a couple different things I didn't do, some different choices I didn't make, and there's a couple different endings, and I don't know if I have it in me to struggle through the really difficult medium again. And there is some other things that you'll have, medium difficulty, but you can turn on and off aids, and it'll pop up a warning that says, hey, this is supposed to be a challenging experience. Are you sure you want to make this easier? Essentially. So it's supposed to be hard. But I don't know how hard the easy is, but medium was a lot harder than a lot of games I play. I usually play in about the medium or average difficulty level because I don't want to, stress out too much over a single player game or sweat too much. That's what I save multiplayer for. But I never want it to be too easy. I do like somewhat of a challenge. So if you like really challenging games, this is good. If you like games, especially single player games, to be a little more relaxing, this might be a negative how hard it is, but it is designed to be a difficult challenge. So under the pros I have, first of all, this is a unique game. I can't think of a game that is this hardcore of a survival game while also climbing up a mountain. Even if there's another one out there I'm not thinking of, it's obviously not a well-known game. So I thought this was very unique overall. The next I have is, even though I didn't love the character art style, I thought the graphics and the art style blended well to the environment. I thought the art style made a lot of the game look gorgeous. Now, in the distance, you don't have as detailed graphics, right? A lot of it looks kind of Play-Doh-y. But I just thought the environmental graphics as you're hiking through... Sorry, I keep looking this way because I'm rendering the last of my playthrough, and I'm actually kind of addicted to this game. I'm probably going to play some off stream, actually. But the environmental graphics, I thought, looked really good and fit the game well. And I just thought they were good. The next thing I wrote down was the tutorial. This game, the mechanics are pretty simple, actually. But the tutorial, you start out, which you've seen in the beginning of this video, is how you start out. You're in a climbing gym, and you have to complete walls 1 through 3. Now, you can do the other walls, and if you want to take your time on this game, I would recommend doing the other walls. And then you climb up a practice area of the park, but it helps you get used to all of the controls, and I am for any game that has tutorials in it. Of course, that always lands in my pro section. The next is the importance of the resource management. You will be surprised how long you'll go without finding drinkable water or food or medical supplies or finger tape or whatever. Not to mention, your pitons occasionally break. And one lesson I learned the hard way is do not compost your pitons when they're broken. We'll talk about the composting. I'll explain in a second. Because you can repair them, and I did not realize that at first. And they're very important to have to keep you from losing your progress on the mountain. And the composting I mentioned is anytime you eat, there's trash left behind. And or you can compost literally anything in your bag, and that will be turned into climbing chalk, which is another very important resource to manage. To get through the harder sections, it's nice to have the climbing chalk. Each use of the chalk gives you 12 hand movements that give you extra grip, so you got to use those sparingly. And the resource management is very important because you will go through hunger and thirst and cold and overall morale, and it's very important to manage all of that. I found that out the hard way. I actually had to change the assist that I mentioned earlier to turn on the no survival assist because I ran out of food and there was nowhere left to hit food, and I was near the top, and I did not want to have to load back to a much farther point. So food management is especially important. So is water and cold management, because towards the end of the game, you get hungrier and thirstier and colder faster as you're getting towards the top of the mountain. And so resource management is very, very important to the game. Then the final pro I have is the story. The story is fairly simple, but I just think it tells a very good human story about the types of people who are the world-class climbers that are addicted to the thrill and the danger and the accomplishment and the adrenaline of climbing. There is a lot of people who are kind of hard outer shell, somewhat loner peoples that do the type of stuff that Ava's doing, and from the stereotypes you hear, I think it's well represented in this game, and that's not necessarily a negative thing. I think you kind of have to be like that to accomplish the thing that these people in real life accomplish. And there's an element of fellow climber that you meet on the mountain, and I think that story's good. And the story is simple. It is not mind-blowing, but I think it is good. It has emotional points at certain times that fit well. And I don't know, I just enjoyed the story. It's not the most mind-blowing part of this game. And then, honestly, I just can't say enough about this game. Honestly, one of the pros is the game itself. But those are the pros, the so-sos, and the cons I wrote down. This game, I know I don't sound like, maybe I'm not selling it as an amazing game, but I think it's going to be hard for many games to come out this year to rank higher, honestly, than this game. I came away, incredibly impressed with how such a simple premise can be done so well. The climbing mechanics were great. The rewarding feeling that you felt after getting through really tough sections, that I would spend times on sections, like, no joke, on sections an hour, 2 hours, but I didn't want to give up, because when you get through the really difficult sections, the game feels so rewarding to complete those sections and to get to the next place where you can save and set up your tent and cook some food, heat up some water or tea to help keep you warm. And it felt really rewarding to get through those sections. And I don't know, the game just felt really fun to play, really rewarding, stressful at the right points, emotional at the right points. And I was addicted. I went into this game thinking, I'll play it for a couple hours, then I'll go play some High Guard or Forza or Warzone or Apex or whatever, and then come back to it, and I'll finish this game over days. I played this game for 4.5 hours and had to force myself to get off because I had to get up early. Then the next day, I played for 8 hours. Yesterday, I played for almost 8 hours because I couldn't get off the game. I did not plan to play that long. I wanted to play some High Guard because of some of the updates that came out, and I could not get off the game. The game is way more addicting than I thought it would be. I was very excited when the trailer was first announced a couple years ago. Very disappointed when it was delayed. And I expected this game to be awesome, and it blew my expectations out of the water. If you like challenging games, survival games, if you're into outdoors stuff, I would recommend taking the time to play this game. If you don't want a hardcore challenge, play on the easier mode. I don't know how easy it is, but play on the easier mode, because I think just the gameplay mechanics and the experience of this game is worth it no matter how easy or hard you make it for yourself. It's going to be one of my favorite games all year. I can't imagine loving games more. There's very few games that I walk away with wow, holy shit, I need to play this game again. There's very few single player games that I immediately want to play through again, or once I run out of single player games, I like to do my single player Sundays on Twitch, and this will be high on the list of games to go back and play again because I was just wowed by it. And something I didn't put in my pros is there's so much extra exploration to do, not just going up the mountain, but there's different ledges where you can find bodies or tents and get more supplies or collectibles, and there's so much to explore besides just the verticality of the mountain that you could spend. I spent probably 12 total hours climbing, maybe a little more. My playtime in game's a little less because I reset at points where there was just nothing I could do and I just reset. So the climb time is a little bit less. My actual playthrough was 12 hours. I could probably have spent 20 hours getting to everywhere I needed on the mountain, and it would have been fun doing it. I just am someone who, if you watch me play single player games, I love to get through the game, and I'll do some side things here or there, but I love to get through the game because I like the stories and all. But I could rant on and on about how great this game is, how much I love this game, and most of the reviews out there are 9.5 out of 10. Some are down in the high 7s, but I have not seen anything lower than 77 out of 100, which obviously is a 7.7 out of 10. But I got to lean into the 9.5s. It's hard to find a perfect game. Maybe if I like the art style more, if the physics were a little better, the limb selection was a little bit smarter when it's automatically selecting limbs, this would be a 10, but I'm giving it a 9.5. This game, truly incredible. I can't wait to play through it again after I get through some more of my library, or I might just, play it some off stream here and there just to enjoy it some more. But this is going to be one of my favorite games of the year. I can't imagine a better indie game, which support indie studios, please. But I can't imagine a better indie game. I can't imagine many more games that I'm going to enjoy more. I mean, there's Gears E-Day, there's the remake of Halo, the first Halo. There's games that we don't know. There's a lot of games coming out. There's Mouse PI for Hire, which I could go on about the games coming out. There's a lot that I was as excited for this one, but I don't think there's going to be any that I walk away with loving more. I truly, truly, truly loved and recommended Cairn. Like I said, 9.5 out of 10. On a bad day, it's 9 out of 10. You should definitely go play it. You should support indie studios, but that's my thoughts on Cairn. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you like game review content or Apex or Warzone content. And if you want to watch my playthrough, that's linked down below with my Twitch, Instagrams, TikToks, Twitters, other YouTube channels. So if you want to support me here, there, or anywhere, I, of course, always appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye. Out climb bot. Okay.
Dinner.
Poor girl.
Good. And also,
No, my poor girl. We're just clipping through the rock. Thought I could get the baton in time. I could not though.
Yes.
We're not even to the really hard parts yet. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Climbot.